Welcome to Sunshine Cathedral's Queer God Squad. It's Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. I am Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins, the senior minister here at Sunshine Cathedral. Faith and religion can be complicated for the LGBTQ+ community. Surveys show that evangelical faith is the justification for the greatest attacks on the LGBTQ+ community.
I am Reverend Dr. Robert Griffin, the executive minister here at the Sunshine Cathedral. The Queer God Squad is going to explore our religious community. Let's explore the big news of the day and what it means to you.
I am Reverend Kevin Tisdall, the Minister of Education. This is live, and then we are available on demand. We are available on all smart televisions and your favorite social media.
At Sunshine Cathedral, we are here to tell you that you are God's miracle, not God's mistake. This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. Leading Christians sign letter against Christian nationalism and what it means to LGBTQ+. Amidst the ongoing debate surrounding Christian nationalism, two events that took place within the span of 1 year have highlighted the opposing viewpoints within the Christian community. On one front, Christians Against Christian Nationalism launched a statement denouncing the ideology, emphasizing the importance of religious pluralism and condemning any form of oppression or violence against religious minorities. The movement aims to uphold the principles of democracy while rejecting the merging of Christian and American identities, which it argues distorts both faith and governance. This is critically important to members of the LGBTQ+ community that feel their faith and church hates them. Through the Sign the Christians Against Christian Nationalism Statement initiative, the organization invites Americans to sign the statement and show support for inclusiveness, diverse faith, and cultural diversity within the country. Sparked by events outside the U.S. Capitol, a mob gathered to express support for Christian nationalism, waving flags and donning MAGA hats. But Georgia McKee, witnessing the stark divergence, captured the scene in a video that gained significant traction on social media. In response, the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty initiated the @End Christian Nationalism TikTok account, garnering over 40,000 followers. McKee, running the account, emphasizes the distinction between Christian nationalism and true Christian values, aiming to combat the former through grassroots activism and education. These events show that there is a limit to the spread of bigotry and conservative views when it comes to faith, and we expect the same to be true when it comes to conservative views against the LGBTQ+ community. Well, yeah. Right? Christian nationalism is the Christian is just putting lipstick on the pig. It's nationalism. And nationalism is the nursery school of racism. Mm-hmm. Nationalism is the code word for white supremacy. Nationalism is about America first. You know, it is the supremacy of our nation, and then deciding who is supreme within the nation, who's in and who's out. It's anti-immigrant, it's anti-refugee, it's anti-gay, it's anti-choice, it's anti-intellect, it's anti-science, and it's anti-minorities. And that's not the American myth. It is the American reality, and has been almost since day one. But it's not the American myth that calls us to be something better, and it's certainly not, if by Christian we mean followers of Jesus. Christianity, the institution, well, that's had 2,000 years of evolution and divergence and schisms and, you know, whatever, and reforms. And so, yeah, Christian can mean a million different things. But to follow the historical Jesus, nationalism is the farthest thing from that, from the values that he taught, from his love ethic, from his love your neighbors as yourself, from the golden rule. Christian nationalism is a problem. Because it's not about love of Christ, it's not about love of country, it's certainly not about love of neighbor. And if you're going to be a follower of Jesus, love of neighbor is pretty central. I want to just quote a few things from, I guess, the defining sermon of Jesus' ministry, the so-called Sermon on the Mount. Luke's version is Sermon on the Plains, but this is where he lays out his agenda. This is the gospel. This is what's important to me. according to two of the gospel writers, saying that Jesus has laid this all out. This is what it means to follow Jesus. He says you can't follow God and mammon. Mammon is a word that we don't really use in common parlance, so let me translate it for you. You cannot follow God and capitalism. You cannot have money as your primary goal, as what it means to be successful. Or yes, we all need money, and people who have more money should share more money, although it's usually the other way around. Usually people with the least amount are actually more generous. But yeah, money's not the problem. But greed and judging people by the amount of money and thinking you're better because you have a few coins, that's not the Jesus way. You can't be in the Jesus way and it would be worshiping capitalism. Let's see. He says, we tell you don't murder, but I'm telling you, even if you're mean, that's kind of a murder. That's kind of a character assassination. If you have hatred in your heart, that's kind of murder. Well, that's very different than, kill the queers and silence the women and let's take sides in these wars. Jesus says, no, even if you're unkind, that's a kind of murder. Turn the other cheek, he says. Well, that's not a nationalistic value at all. Love your enemies. Love your enemies. Love your enemies. Yeah. How about just don't bomb them into oblivion, or don't say ugly things about them. No, love them. Love your enemies. Don't commodify your religion. Now, did Jesus say commodify? No, but he does say, don't be praying in public. Don't be making a big spectacle of yourself. Don't let everybody know when you're fasting. If you've got to pray, go aside and do that, quietly and in private. Yeah, don't commodify your religion. That would be news to the entire Christian nationalist movement and really most of fundamentalism. There's 3 chapters, Matthew 5, 6, and 7. That's where you find the Sermon on the Mount. Matthew 7:1 begins with, don't judge. Basically, every judgment is a self-judgment. And so, that you would identify any kind of nationalism as Christian is bizarre. It's insane. It's an insult. Now, you can be nationalist, and you can probably give some good reasons why you think that's a good thing, but don't dare put Jesus' name on that.
Well, that's every time I look at neoconservative groups and they start talking about what they stand for, it is, as far as I can see, never talking about the things you just discussed. Love. Love is the basic tenet of Christianity. Love is what Jesus said that we're supposed to do. Love God and love your neighbor as yourself. I'm not sure exactly where the Christian nationalists get their tenets, because it's nowhere in any sacred book that I've ever seen. So I do believe, and I do believe firmly, that Christian nationalism is a danger to American democracy. I believe that people who follow these folks are following them into the abyss. And what's going to happen, I think, especially this year, in this election year, we're going to more than ever see the ugliness of Christian nationalism as it is defined by a particular candidate. That candidate doesn't represent anything positive. That candidate continues to spew venom against everyone. If you are against him, you are against America. That's not who we're supposed to be. But this person has become their golden calf. And now the golden calf has golden sneakers.
Ugh. And some of these people have camps, like armed camps. There's the Church of the Iron Rod or some crazy thing. Like they've got 3 things, and the third thing is like shooting lessons. It's for their church. Square that with Peter, put away your sword. Square that with turn the other cheek. I mean, it's insane. Like I get, you can have whatever philosophy you want to, and it can be as vile and mean as you want it to be. But how did you suck Jesus up into that? And I said in a recent sermon that Christian nationalism is actually a response, a reaction against every positive liberation movement we've had since abolition of slavery. They've opposed it from day one. They are the original Southern Baptists. They're the original Southern Methodists. They're the original Southern Presbyterians. They are the original Southern elite and they have fought everything since abolition, women's suffrage, the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement, the LGBTQ rights movement, scientific advances, peace movements, movements to protect the planet we all have to share. I mean, every single thing that had to do with liberty and conscience and kindness and compassion and empathy, they have been against it since the days of slavery. This group is as old as this country, and because we haven't denounced them and we haven't atoned for letting them have so much influence, those people decided that certain ones of us could only be counted as 3/5 of a human for census counting. I mean, they've been here forever, and that we have not denounced them and apologized for ever letting them have any influence is why we're in this mess. This is who we are. The American myth is a myth. Usually myth, I don't take to mean false. But in this case, the American myth of how good we are, we may intellectually believe in some of these principles, but I can name you a dozen countries living them out way more noticeably and have been doing so for way, way longer. Christian nationalism is white supremacy, is homophobia, is misogyny, is capitalism run amok, is militarism, and it is the problem.
Well, here's my take on this. If as organized as this group is, they need to be put on a watch list, along with some other groups. They need to be on the watch list, first of all. And secondly, this Christian nationalism is not a turn back time. Let's go back to the way it was. This is a destroy time. And this is a let us remake this all over in our image, and this is the image we want to create. This is not about making anything better for anybody. This group is worse than the KKK. And why I believe they're worse than the KKK is because this group don't have to wear white sheets. This group is all over the place at all levels of government, all parts of politics, and all our society. They're not caring about white sheets anymore. They're out there. And they're showing their face. They are not ashamed anymore to take their stand and be on their platforms denouncing everything that is humanly good for anybody in this nation, in this country any longer. So they're out to burn it down. And I don't think they care if it takes out their mother, their grandmother. They will burn this son of a bitch down. And I don't think they care.
No.
And they're not taking any prisoners. And when they're done with it, God help them, because I don't think they're going to like what's left of it.
That's the whole thing. They really don't know what they're getting into. I have to do a commercial for Sunshine Cathedral. You have got to go to whatever you watch, Roku, all of the channels, all of the streaming services that carry the Happening Out television network. This past Sunday was an amazing Sunday at church. Our pastor, the Reverend Dr.
It was February 25th. I don't know when this goes out.
Oh.
So, yeah. But it was, the Sunday was February 25th.
February 25th.
February.
The clarion call from Durrell, the sermon from Durrell, speaks directly to what Christian nationalism is doing to America. So I invite you to watch that whole thing. Watch the singing. Reverend Dr. Robert sang his butt off. Reverend Dr. Durrell preached his butt off. And the message was clear. Christian nationalism is destroying America, and we have the ability to stop it. And he said that if we do nothing, we are complicit. So please go out there, watch the sermon, and then go to the site, sign the petition, and then get out there and make sure that all of the people who think like you are registered and then that they vote. This is how important this is to me.
Well, that's it for today at the Queer God Squad. We want to thank you for joining us. We're here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and discuss what our LGBTQ plus community is talking about.
Sunshine Cathedral is the world's largest progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together. And we are all in this together. Remember that.
You are God's miracle, not God's mistake. Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad. Goodbye.